Pregame.com.
Welcome back to Pregame.tv. As we're doing all summer long, we are previewing season win totals with college and pro teams. Today, we're going to take a look at NFL, Cleveland Browns. They're in my division with my Pittsburgh Steelers. And, you know, I tease Brian Leonard all the time because he's the Cleveland guy, and I'm Pittsburgh. And I tell him, you know, the only good thing about Cleveland is it's only 2.5 hours away from Pittsburgh.
There you go. And, you know, and they call it such a rivalry. And, I mean, they really do go head-to-head. But with Pittsburgh making it so one-sided over the last 8 years, it's been tough for Cleveland fans. I do love their fan base there. And I think even the Steeler fans over the years, well, I want to say they kind of feel sorry for the Browns fans, but they won't. They won't.
I got to admit, probably the only time that I'm somewhat embarrassed when I go to a Steeler game is when they play the Browns. I mean, it gets a little bit ugly, and, you know, you don't want to go into the men's room wearing Cleveland gear, and, you know, you get just brutalized and stuff. But, hey, you know, it is a rivalry. It's because they're so close, and the two cities are pretty similar, you know, blue-collar type towns. But as you said,
both have great fan bases, realistically. I mean.
They do. And you go to Cleveland in the dog pound, you know, there's nothing better than that. But this game here, we're talking season win totals. What are you looking at here with the Browns?
Well, I think Cleveland made a couple acquisitions, one on offense that I really like and one on defense that I think is a game changer. And I really like Brandon Weeden. I followed him at Oklahoma State, and I like Mike Gundy. And he had Monk in there, too, offensive coordinator who just took over at Southern Miss. Great innovative offensive mind. And Brandon Weeden really learned a lot from Todd Monken. So I just think, again, a lot of speculation. He had the Chris Wenke deal. He's coming in at 28 years old, and he's too old, and you're only going to get a few years. But for Cleveland, they needed the maturity. And Whedon's a guy, he's been married for a while. He's not a guy that's going out to party at the clubs and getting in all the hoopla and stuff early on in his NFL career.
Not a lot of partying in Cleveland.
Well, then when they make it to Pittsburgh, right? But no, I know some Browns fans that are just, I mean, they are true blue. They are, and it was great to see them get that team back, because it was such a proud tradition. But I really think that they, the new ownership, everything, it's kind of, I just feel that, I don't want to say changing of the guard because Baltimore lost a lot, and I expect them to slip back to the pack. Pittsburgh, to me, some significant losses, and Harrison's a big one to me psychologically. So Cincinnati, too, if Andy Dalton can continue his climb and, that team can continue to excel, I think this division is going to be one of the strongest in the AFC.
Yeah, definitely, I agree with you. Baltimore is going to have a regression. Pittsburgh, I'm still on the fence where I'm going with them this season. I want to see a little bit, and that's one of the things when I go back to Pittsburgh next week, and I'm going to be there for a few weeks. I want to catch a little bit of the training camp, see what we got.
Why did they not sign Ahmad Bradshaw? What happened there? Because they were courting him before the Colts got him, and I thought that would be a great move for Pittsburgh.
I thought it would have been too. Maybe Pittsburgh just didn't want to take a chance with that, foot, because if he's not healthy,
right.
It's a bust of a signing. But going back to Cleveland here for a second, and you brought up a great point. We always talk about the second-year quarterbacks, and do they have that sophomore jinx
right.
and have the regression? But a guy being as old as he is and mature as he is, do you think that is going to be a benefit for him?
I do. I really think that he's a guy that'll take all that experience. 14 touchdowns, 17 interceptions. He'll cut down on the picks. He forced some errant throws. Here's a kid, did a lot. I'd say 85%, 90% from the shotgun there with Gundy. Had to go under center. You've got Trent Richardson in the backfield, so you're going to make a lot of handoffs. All of a sudden, he became a quarterback first year in the NFL that he wasn't over there in college for several years.
Yeah, and right before we went on the air, you talked about another addition you liked with Javon Best. And, to get this team where you take a little bit of pressure off of Weeden, too, that he doesn't have to seem like he's got to do it all, they've got an opportunity in there. And one thing about playing in the division, and I can tell you, it's the same way at Heinz Field in December. Cleveland, you got that, lake effect. You got the wind whipping off the lake there in cold. You get some warm weather teams that come in maybe late in the season. You might be able to steal a game here or there. So I don't know which way you're going. I think I know which way you're going, but let's make it official.
All right, Marco, let's do that. All right, I am going to make it official. Now, when this number first came out, it was 5.5, quickly went to 6. So right now, 6, and even laying a little juice, minus 130, I know is what Cantor Racing Sports had it. And, of course, that's where I spend a lot of my time. But shop around for the best line. But I do still think there's plenty of value in Cleveland over 6. I think the acquisition of Paul Kruger, not only does it hurt Baltimore on the defense, but it helps Cleveland. I mean, this guy is big time. And his brother Dave is actually there. Won't get that much time, the younger brother. And in fact, the other brother, Joe, is over there with the Philadelphia Eagles. So the Krugers, mainstays, of course, everybody that knows Utah and the Utes knows what that family means to Utah Ute football. How about last year, Cleveland? 5 losses by a touchdown or less. Okay, the opener against Philadelphia, they had no business losing, but found a way to lose that game 17-16. When you look at Brandon Weeden, again, a guy that's not the most mobile quarterback, but a guy that has a rocket arm. And again, he'll learn now speed of the defense is much faster than playing in the Big 12, doing everything from shotgun. Again, I think the experience that he gained last year is it's ridiculous what it's going to mean to Brandon Weeden. And I really think this team is going to do well. And then you've got Norv Turner, a very innovative offensive mind as well over there, offensive coordinator. Josh Gordon, Greg Little. Now, Gordon going to start with a suspension, I believe, and is going to miss a couple games. But you've got Little with Devon Bess, I think, is a guy that can come up big. Now, he only had 1 touchdown for Miami, but he had 61 receptions for 778 yards, and he's got that speed. He can stretch the field. Running back-wise, I think Richardson, another guy that had a nice rookie campaign, 950 yards. He'll go well over 1,000 this year. Plus, he had another 3-something out of the backfield, 367 and 51 receptions. So this guy's a dual threat. There is no doubt. Hardesty's still pretty good, little backup there. Special teams are pretty good as well. And again, the depth at the receiving core, these guys need to help out. Josh Cooper, Travis Benjamin, these guys need to step up. Offensive line, Joe Thomas anchors that line. Pretty good offensive line. On the defensive side of the ball, again, I'm looking to Kruger to be the main guy, but the linebacking core, to me, is very, very solid with Kruger. And then you've got Sheard, who had a great year last year as well with 7 sacks. Robertson and Jackson in the middle, pretty good. 4 takeaways for Jackson. And you grab Barkevius Mingo, a guy from LSU, and this guy, he is going to make his name known around the NFL quickly. This kid's got a lot of speed. We talked about Tyrann Mathieu, and of course going over to Arizona, and we know his problems off the field with LSU. Well, Mingo didn't have any problems there with LSU off the field. And this kid is just an ever-ready bunny. He's going 100 miles an hour all the time, and I think he'll get a lot of time there on that defense for Cleveland. Again, Kruger, to me, is the main guy that I'm looking for to kind of go in there and solidify things and give them more sacks. They need more sacks. He had 9 with Baltimore last year, but then you had, the other guys stepping up. And, when you have a guy like Nato on the defensive line, that takes a little pressure off him. But Kruger also had a big play, Marco, I don't know if you remember it, against New England, when he actually leaped up at Brady, who had, ironically, Aaron Hernandez wide open in what would have been a touchdown in that playoff game. And Brady underthrew him because Kruger jumped up so high, and there was nobody near Hernandez. Was a vital play in helping Baltimore get past New England. So, again, this defense to me is going to be solid. It's going to be a team that's going to set Weeden up with some good field position, shorten the field for him. And again, he's going to learn. Take those 17 interceptions, cut it down to 10 or less. I think he'll be fine. I think his touchdowns go up to 20. I'm looking for him to have a 2-to-1 ratio, somewhere around 20 touchdown passes, 10 interceptions, using Trent Richardson, who's got to stay healthy, using the depth on defense. And again, they're going to win some games ugly, but I really like this Cleveland team. I think Cleveland has a good chance to go 500. And I'm looking at Cincinnati, too. I think this division is changing rapidly. And to me, it would not shock me if the Baltimore Ravens finish in the cellar of the AFC South.
Wow, big statement from Ken there. I think they're going to have a regression. I don't know if I can go all the way down to the cellar, but over the 6 weeks.
Name 5 guys on that defense now.
Yeah, well, you got me there.
There you go.
All right, Ken says to take over 6 for the season win totals on the Cleveland Browns. Got to lay a little bit of juice, 130 on that one. Shop around, though. You can always get the best price, when you shop. Be like, lady clipping coupons. You got to find
Look
those
for those
sales.
bubble coupons. That's
there
right.
There you are. All right, we're going to be back. More videos for the season win totals all summer long here on pregame.tv.